Welcome to It's a Woman's World, where we'll meet achieving women making a difference in our community. I'm Carolyn Bruna. Our guest is Debbie Dechambeau, owner of Select Business Marketing, focusing on marketing, networking, and business development strategies. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I'm excited that you're here, and you're also a friend. And I was trying to think, and we were talking a bit on the phone about when we actually first met. And I think you remembered more than I do, but it was when I was president of Women Business Owners in Montgomery County, and you joined. And what did you say about that? Do you recall?
That was a long time ago, probably like before 2005, maybe.
Gosh.
When were you president? Do you remember?
Yeah, 2010.
Okay, so,
yeah, so
it was
oh,
after
right,
that.
So it was
then.
that. Yeah,
it was
that.
after
So
that.
that's right.
Yeah, it's been
10,
a while.
11.
I'm sure I've seen you around at different networking events because when I was running eWomen Network, you were probably at one of those meetings.
Oh, that's right.
I know the Power Conference, pre it being where it is today.
Yes.
Nancy was doing it over at the Marriott over
Actually,
in Pooks Hill. Remember
yes,
that?
yes. And Women Business Owners, when I was president, I'm the one that was the inspiration and started it, the whole idea, and brought the people who are now all our organizations together.
Okay.
So that, and it's continuing. It's an exciting conference, that's been
really,
going for a number of
is.
years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it.
I don't remember the year that I was there, but I know it was more than one when it was over the Pooks Hill Marriott. And it was still kind of small, and everybody was in the hallway, but it was still powerful.
Yeah, oh, great. Well, thank you. Yeah, we love that. So what we're saying, though, and we should get to our show, however, is that women's organizations have a lot to do, I think, with women's success in business and personal as well, because we meet people, we network, and you never know what's going to come out of it.
That's the perfect statement. You never know. And that's why you have to get out and you have to meet people because you never know where it's going to go. I remember seeing you at an event, it's probably within the last couple of years, just at a table and walking up and saying hello, and that's kind of how we started with this conversation. And then finally our schedules sort of came together where we could do this, but you never know where things are going to go.
And today's topic is mobile marketing, and talk about you never know, that's changing, and you are really right in it and know so much about it. So let's get on to that. How did you get involved in, I guess, just marketing in general first?
Well, I'm actually an insurance agent by training. I have been an insurance agent all my life. And as part of the insurance world, I met someone who said, you need to get involved with a networking group. And I went, what's that? And I sort of explored it a little bit. From the networking group, I ran BNI, Business Network International. I was responsible for 30 chapters between Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Southern Maryland, and DC. Started my own business from there. I just sort of fell into loving it. And I was exposed to a guy named John Jantz, who runs an organization called Duct Tape Marketing. And my attraction to him was all about referrals and learning about the referral component of things. And right at that same time when I joined his network, he came out with this thing called the Total Online Presence, which is really what marketing is evolved into today, the online component of marketing. And so from my involvement with duct tape marketing, I've just sort of studied marketing and learned about marketing and teach about marketing.
Yeah, great. And I love the terms you're pulling in. I'm going to ask you basically what is marketing in general, because I said to you, you hear so many definitions, and it used to be, I think, smaller, or at least I didn't realize it was as broad as it is. But I like the fact that you said referrals, too, because there's another tip for business women. Not only networking, but referrals, and I know that they're really good in your business. But
Absolutely.
Explain marketing to me, just in general.
I use the duct tape marketing definition, which may not be what you find in a Webster's, but it's how do you get people to know, like, and trust you. So it kind of ties back to what we said. We met at a networking organization, but you didn't know me until I went there. You know, you didn't know whether you liked me or trusted me, but you know, that's what you did. So whether you go to networking events, whether you're doing advertising, whether you're doing online things, marketing is all about how do you get people to know, like, and trust you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and I love that. We say that a lot. I'd actually say that, but I didn't realize that was its actual definition. I love it.
It is. It's simple, you know, and
Yeah.
for whatever marketing you do, that if you go back to that basic definition, you know, if I were to look at this as marketing today, having a conversation with you, people didn't know me prior to today, but now they know me. They can decide if they like me. They can decide if they trust me, but it's a simple form of marketing.
So are you saying, in a sense, we are marketing?
We could be.
Oh, very interesting. I love it.
Depends on what we do with the TV show, but we could be.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, now, I've written a few things down because I don't remember these things, but you told me about online marketing and offline marketing, or traditional marketing, and what is it, just today's marketing. So define those as well then. So we've gone from a definition of marketing simplistically to what people are using today,
Right.
more complex.
So let me take a step back to the old-fashioned marketing, if you will, what people used to do pre-internet.
Right.
So think in terms of advertising in a magazine, or advertising in some sort of publication, or direct mail, or being in the telephone book. I mean, that was the marketing that people were doing pre-internet. That's, you know, it would cost you $40,000 to have the back page of the Yellow Pages, and everybody fought for that to get noticed, if you will. Today, those forms still work, but we've taken those forms online. So you might be doing online advertising, you might be doing online review sites, you might be doing online emails, you know. So that's kind of the online to offline, if you will.
And so that's the old-fashioned marketing. So now go to the mobile marketing and mobile technology.
So mobile is really having your marketing on a platform that people can see on their mobile devices. Okay, whether your mobile device is a smartphone or a cell phone, whether your mobile device is a tablet. I think today a lot of people are even wearing the Apple Watches, you know, so the mobile is on the watch itself. But it's the ability for people to find you on their mobile device. Okay. So I'll give you an example, something that you and I talked about. I was in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, and I was driving back from North Carolina, and I saw a billboard that was advertising a pottery company. And they listed the pottery web address, so I pulled over and looked up the web address, wink, wink. And one of the things that I discovered from that is I couldn't read their website on my mobile device. So their offline, if you will, their offline marketing was the billboard, okay? That was not using technology at all, other than that was old-fashioned, if you will.
Right.
But what they were doing was driving me to their website to say, come check us out. The problem is when I got to their website on my mobile device, which I was on the road, so you would try to put two and two together like that. I couldn't read their website. I couldn't read directions to their location. It made it very, very difficult for me to find them on my mobile device. So
their mobile marketing was not correctly done or sufficient or whatever you want to call it, as well as their old-fashioned one. Yeah.
Right.
And I do have to throw in here, I'm glad you said you pulled over, because many people don't. And I may or may not believe you, but I want you to make sure you do pull over.
Absolutely, you should not
a little
look
aside
at your phone.
for safety for our viewers.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I know. It's so tempting, and yet we can't do that at all. I actually can't do anything near my phone when I'm driving because I can't think about both things. It's just too much for me.
That's okay, and that's actually a good philosophy to have.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay, and so I wanted to go to the mobile devices and how often people are on them. Yeah.
There's many organizations that study this, but there's one statistic from an organization called Social Media Marketing Today. It says that average people look at their mobile device 150 times a day.
No.
That's a lot in a day. So put yourself in the mindset of a business owner. If as a business owner, so many people are looking at their mobile devices that many times a day, what does that do for your business and your marketing? And how are you being visible to them on those mobile devices? You know, so what does your website look like? Like I mentioned with this pottery company, what does the website look like when you are when people are searching you? What does, if you're sending out email marketing campaigns, what does that look like when people are searching for you? If people are looking online for reviews for you, what are they seeing? So there's a lot of technology that's changed. It's not what people see on the desktop. It's what people see on their mobile devices, and how does that look, and what are they finding?
So you're answering or talking about how mobile is relevant to business. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it's essential today, and a lot of people don't think about it. So again, I go back to the pottery example. When I tried to pull up the website and look for directions, I couldn't find anything about where they were located. And when I dug in about 3 or 4 pages to find where they were located, I had to read the directions. Now, most companies today, what they would do is they would link the directions to Google Maps. And when I go to click on the directions, Google Maps would pick up, and then Google Maps would actually take me there. So I'll give you a different example along those lines. I was in North Carolina to go to a conference, and I drove, it was in an office park, and at this company I was going to their conference room for this conference that we were doing. And as a result of that, when I pulled into the parking lot, Google Maps was driving me there, giving me the directions, if you will, and it popped up and said, this location may be closed, because I was going on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and they were only open Monday through Friday. So if you compare that to the pottery place, the pottery place, one, I had to read the directions to get there. It didn't link to the Google Maps. And the worst case, or the worst thing that happened, I got there, went there, and they were closed. So, you know, this is how the company hurt themselves because they didn't give clear information about their company, which is very, very easy to do. But most companies don't know that they need to do this.
Or don't know yet.
Correct.
Because this is new too, really.
It's probably 3 or 4 years old.
3 or 4 years old,
yeah. I mean, technology is changing so quickly.
So people really should, and that company, a company, and any company really should be aware of this by now, is what you're saying.
They should be.
They're, interesting.
Yeah, their marketing consultants should be helping them with that. But what a lot of companies end up with is, they try to do things by themselves, which makes it really difficult. And 2, they don't budget for things like this, which makes it difficult as well.
Okay. I want to move on to social media and how that's impacted by mobile technology. You are giving a lesson here, and I love it. It's a big learning for me, and I hope for other people too.
There's so much going on with social media. So really, first you have to start with what platform. But Facebook is the one that the majority of people are on today. So with Facebook alone, one of the things that's changing is we've gone from posting words to video. And a lot of things within Facebook is you need to post video in order for things to be seen. Another thing about Facebook, and this sort of goes to my sort of funny expressions a few minutes ago, is Facebook is changing every day. So from a business owner's perspective, they have to really stay on top of all these changes in order to make it effective. Okay. Now going back to the mobile component of it, a lot of technology is going to what we call live video. So Facebook has something called Facebook Live, and I could have my smartphone here today, and I could actually be recording what we're doing on my smartphone, and we would be live on Facebook. That's something that I could actually do today. There's something called Periscope. Periscope is run by Twitter, and it's the same kind of thing. We could be live streaming on our mobile devices on Periscope. Blab is another platform where we're live streaming, and anybody who wants to follow us can. So from a business perspective, we have to decide, you know, where do we want to be, and what's going to get the most impact for what we're doing. And it all that goes back really to who is your audience, and where is your audience hanging out. And
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking, how do you figure all this out? And something we're going to talk about a little bit later is how do you learn it? But I like that, makes it a lot clearer for me, who is my audience, and once I have that determined, then I can see which particular kind.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm actually going to let's do that after the break.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you. Yeah. We'll break for a short public service announcement.
That's slow, that's slow.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. Stop the texts. Stop the wrecks. Visit us at stoptextsstopwrecks.org.
Welcome back to It's a Woman's World. We're talking with Debbie Dechambeau about mobile marketing. Deb, we were talking before the break about how do you determine your audience. in the whole aspect of mobile marketing?
That's the most critical thing for any business owner, to understand who they are marketing to. And this is where a lot of business owners spend a lot of excess money because they think they can market to anyone, but the reality of it is they need to really focus in. The other thing that happens with marketing is that companies, I call it the shiny object syndrome. Somebody will come up with something new and they'll go, oh, I need to do that. And they don't really look at their plan. So, for example, Snapchat. Snapchat is one of the newest social media platforms out there. And there's a couple of people saying that, you know, you really need to get on it as a business owner, but you need to look at who's on that platform. And most of the people that are on that platform are 15 to 25-year-olds. So if your audience is in the 15 to 25-year-old category, then yeah, maybe that's something that you want to look at. But if your audience is, you know, 50 and older, no sense getting on Snapchat because they're not going to be there. So it's really important to understand who your audience is so that you're not spending time in places where your audience isn't hanging out from a social media perspective.
So you know your audience, and then you have to research, I guess, these like Snapchat, which I've only heard about really, and of course Facebook and the others, to know who goes to those sites. So
Correct.
that then you want to go to those sites if that's where your audience is.
Correct. Like Facebook started off as a college students platform, you know, and then they, I guess back in 2007, 2008, they began opening it up to the rest of the public. But now there's more parents, more people 45 and older on Facebook than there are on the younger side, because the younger side wants to get away from their parents, and so they've moved over to Instagram. And some of those have moved over to Snapchat. So it's really understanding the demographics and your ideal customer persona when it comes to marketing, and understanding where you're going to invest your dollars and your time.
Boy, this is all complex. This is a big learning thing. As a businesswoman, there's so many aspects. So, wow. What are some of the tools that people use to help them with this mobile marketing? Because here I am saying, how do I possibly do it? What tools can I use?
There's a lot. So the first place I would tell a business owner to go to is something called Google My Business. And this is something that Google has put out. It used to be called Google Places. It's now called Google My Business. Basically what it is it's a place where you go and register your business online with Google. It usually takes a couple of weeks for it to happen, because that way they're verifying the information that you're saying is correct. So when you go to Google My Business, once it's set up, you can put in your company address, you can put in your office hours, you can put in photos of your products and services. One of the best pieces about this, though, is you can direct your customers to go to this site to give you online reviews. And I know we're going to talk about online reviews in just a minute, but that's one really valuable tool for that. Another tool is on your website or any type of like email marketing that you're doing, you need to use like your website needs to be what we call mobile responsive. And what mobile responsive is it looks good on the mobile devices. So when I talk about the Pottery Company, and the Pottery Company's website didn't look good on my phone, it was not a mobile responsive website. Most newer platforms are mobile responsive, but if you haven't updated your website in 5 years or even 3 years or more, you're probably, there's a good possibility you're not on a mobile responsive site. So that's something, those are two simple things that business owners can look into for making sure that they look good online.
It just also makes me so aware of the fact of keeping up, you know, as a woman, and how difficult. But tell me about the reviews, and then we'll get into that. The reviews, are they that important online, really? It sounds like you're going to say yes. Yeah, so go ahead, explain that.
Have you taken a trip recently?
Yes.
Okay, and when you took your trip, did you stay at a hotel?
Oh, yes, I
and
see where you're going, yes.
Before you chose the hotel, did you look to see what people were saying about the hotel?
Exactly. Lots of time. I've spent lots of times reviewing the different hotels, comparing them, and then comparing a lot of
what
the reviews.
People are saying.
And seeing positive ones, negatives, and then saying to myself, okay, how many negative are there? And they do the positive outweigh? Oh, yes.
Have you bought any kind of products lately, maybe a vacuum cleaner or a car or even clothes online?
That's right. We did a washing machine, and my husband spent, I thought, way too much time looking it up, but you're right.
Yeah, you're looking to see what other people are saying about it. So pre-internet, we had, from a product perspective, we had Consumer Reports. And
Right.
everybody would have a subscription to Consumer Reports because you didn't buy anything without them saying
Yes.
this was good or this wasn't good. So the online reviews have, I don't want to say they've replaced Consumer Reports, but it's the similar type of concept. So lawyers have a special site that's been created called Avo. And if you're checking out a lawyer, that's where you would go.
Oh.
If Yelp is one that many people are familiar with respects to mostly brick and mortar type of places, but restaurants and hair
Restaurants, that's-
salons
yeah.
and those types of things.
Definitely,
You know?
that's where I
So
go.
you want to make sure that you're encouraging people to give reviews. I have a client who is a home inspector, and his business has skyrocketed, not because the market has changed, but because people say, I read a review about you. And he keeps track about that all the time. So that, to answer your question, are online reviews important? They absolutely are. But when I mentioned Google My Business a minute ago, that's the first place to send people to give a review, because where do most people do their searches online today?
And Google,
Google.
of
We
course.
Google
yes,
it.
you're right.
So
Google
you
it.
go to Google My Business and you set that up, because that helps with the search engines, the search engine optimization, if you will. It's one step getting you closer for people to find you as a
Yeah.
business.
And what I like about it, sounds like you're saying that it gives validity, because they are actually checking you out before they put you on there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Ah.
Yeah. Now here's a little bit of a dilemma that many small businesses have, because a lot of small businesses, particularly women who start their own businesses, are doing home-based businesses.
Right.
And a lot of them don't want to reveal their home address. That's a concern
true.
for a lot of women. So in order to really make the Google My Business appropriate, you need to put an address on there. So some alternatives to that is maybe go to the local post office. A lot of post offices today will allow you to use their street address. And when you do that, you just have the box number, but at least it gives you an address. There is something called the UPS store, and you can buy a box from them. And if that's your business address, then it gives you an address. Intelligent Office or Launch in Montgomery County, those are two places where you can rent mailboxes from them and just to have your mail sent there. But it legitimatizes you having an office space and putting an address out there instead of having to put your home address out there, which a lot of women don't want to do. But when we go back to this getting found online, you have to give this information. It makes it really difficult if you don't. So it's a quandary, and I get it's a quandary, but if you're a legitimate business, that's the next step that you have to take a look at.
Definitely need a legitimate place for people to...
You at least an
yes,
address.
at least an address, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm glad you brought up women, because that's what I want to go into now, where it's a woman's world. So tell us the difference, but if you've found any, and is there, between women and men online with the mobile marketing, and what do you see, and maybe what can women do to keep themselves up with all this?
Well, as an insurance agent, I come from a world where there's not a lot of women in insurance. So, and my minor in college was women's studies. So I'm always tuned into what's going on with women, okay? So at most of my marketing conferences, I see mostly men. I'm not saying it's 100% men, but I'm seeing more men opening agencies than I am women. I see more men taking the leap to hire the staff than I am women. You know, most women that I see are doing the home-based business. So I don't want to say their opportunities are limited, but there's so many more opportunities if they step outside of the house, try to build a business and grow the team, as opposed to trying to do everything themselves.
And if they don't or if they do want to keep a small at-home based business, at least perhaps they don't do everything themselves, but educate. And that's what I want to ask next, about how to educate themselves to do some of these things.
Right.
And maybe they shouldn't be doing all of them, because I know you were mentioning that too.
I think what you've said is so perfect, in that you can't do everything. And I think that's where a lot of people get into trouble, because they try to do too many things.
Yeah.
So become a Facebook expert, become an email marketing expert, become an expert that builds websites, or become an expert that does review sites, helps companies do reviews. And then you can sort of niche and you can manage it and you can be really good at it. I mentioned earlier that Facebook, it's changing every single week. If you just focus on Facebook, you can become a Facebook expert and you can know a lot more than what anybody else knows. But it's hard to keep up with the Facebook changes. I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Facebook made 10 changes in 1 week. So how does a typical business owner stay on top of that? That makes it difficult to do. So find a niche, find something that you like, that you're passionate about, and then learn that really well and say, this is what I do really well. And as a business owner, then perhaps what they can do is partner up with other marketing agencies and say, if you're doing websites, I'll do your Facebook stuff. If you're doing email marketing, I'll do your Facebook stuff, or whatever it is that you find your niche to be.
And let's go to where do these women and girls go to get this education?
There's lots of good stuff out there online. I'm a big proponent of podcasts. We haven't even talked about that yet.
Okay.
But I think if you go and listen to a few podcasts, there's one called Social Media Marketing. They're really the experts on what's going on in the marketing world today. They can sort of direct you to different platforms that are out there. If Facebook is something that's of interest to you from a marketing business perspective, there's a woman named Mari Smith, M-A-R-I Smith. She's become the guru with Facebook marketing. She puts out a lot of good information every day, and you can learn from her. I'm part of this Duct Tape Marketing Network. I'm not saying that's something for everyone, but that's where I've learned most of my stuff. So lots of good stuff online. You need to do your research to make sure you're getting with the legitimate companies, not like the fly-by-night ones. But it's on there. It's available online.
Yeah, and I think you're teaching me that as women, we're multitaskers, but we should not give into that and actually focus on, as you're saying, one specific thing that we learn that makes us experts. So one specific expertise, I guess I should call it.
Focus on one thing with your business. Once that takes off, once you've grown a little bit, then add something else to it. But don't start out doing multiple things because that's only going to hinder you.
Wow. Got a few more questions, but time is going by. Tell us how people can get in touch with you, first of all.
I'm here in Montgomery County in Gaithersburg. My website is selectbizteam.com. If you just search me online, I show up on a lot of different places. I've done that intentionally. I do a lot of speaking around the country, around the county, and around, actually nationally now. So just Google me. It's pretty easy to find me that way.
Oh, great, Debbie. And so let's just go, there's a few other things. I'm going to end with what you want people to remember. But before that, tell me some of your, what did I write that I wanted to know? I wanted to know some of your favorite mobile apps.
Well, I'm a big Facebook person. There's something called Feedly, F-E-E-D-L-Y. What that basically does is brings all the companies that I follow into one location. So if I follow Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, instead of me having to go to their locations each time, it all comes into one location.
Oh, I love it.
I've really become a podcast junkie, if you will. I really listen to a lot of podcasts. I just launched my own podcast 2 weeks ago. It's called Select Business Team also. But I listen to podcasts probably at least every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
I hate to interrupt you, but tell me what you want people to remember from this, from mobile marketing and from your education about it.
From a mobile marketing perspective, as a business owner, hire out. Don't try to do everything yourself. Find some people who know what they're doing, save up some money and invest in your marketing. Your job as a business owner is to bring in the revenue, not trying to learn all the latest and greatest marketing techniques.
Great. Thank you so very much. I've learned a lot. It's been very exciting. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We hope you enjoyed meeting our guest, Debbie Dechambeau, and that you've learned a lot about mobile marketing and its importance in your business. If you know a woman who's gone above and beyond to contribute to our community, please email us or womansworldtv@aol.com. Remember, it's a woman's world. I'm Carolyn Bruna. See you next time.